knows. I'm Kerry Schertz, the Backyard Professor. I'm arguing against the argument that there is nothing verifiable archaeologically or historically about the Book of Mormon. I think that argument's false. Another illustration of this is by an article by William J. Hamblin, one of my very favorite LDS scholars, who has written on a myriad of subjects. Just recently published his book with David Rolfe Seeley on the King Solomon's Temple. It's a very fascinating read. He discusses metal plates in the Book of Mormon. Numerous examples have been found now of writing on metal plates in antiquity. Hamblin notes a couple of very interesting items I think we should pay attention to. Recent reevaluation of the evidence of writing on metal plates now points to the fact that the Book of Mormon's description of sacred writings on metal plates is a genuine antique practice in the ancient Near East. One of the earliest known surviving examples of writing on copper plates are the Biblos syllabic inscriptions. These date to the 8th century BC, so this is perfect in time for the Book of Mormon. The script is described as a syllabary that is clearly inspired by the Egyptian hieroglyphic system, and in fact is the most important link between the hieroglyphs and the Canaanitish alphabet, which is a precursor to the Hebrew, of course. It would not be unreasonable to describe the Biblos syllabic texts as 8th century BC Semitic bronze plates written in reformed Egyptian characters. Now that's fascinating in light of the Book of Mormon, isn't it? Walter Burkert, in his recent study on the cultural dependence of the Greek civilization on the ancient Near East, refers to the transmission of the practice of writing on bronze plates. The Semitic root is delet. This is from the Phoenicians to the Greeks. Now the reference to bronze, that is deltoi, plates, from delet, as a term among the Greeks for the ancient sacral laws should point back to the 7th or the 6th century BC as the period in which the terminology and practice of writing on bronze plates was transmitted from the Phoenicians to the Greeks. Students of the Book of Mormon will note that this is the precise time and the precise place in which the Book of Mormon claims there existed similar bronze plates, which contained the ancient sacred laws of the Hebrews, the close cultural cousins of the Phoenicians. Burkert also maintains that the practice of the Subscriptio in particular connects the layout of later Greek books with cuneiform practice. The indication of the name of the writer, the author, and the title of the book right at the end, after the last line of the text. This is a detailed and exclusive correspondence that proves the Greek literary practice is ultimately dependent upon Mesopotamia. This is fascinating. Joseph Smith wrote that the title page of the Book of Mormon is a literal translation, taken from the very last leaf on the left-hand side of the collection of books or plates, which contained the record which has been translated. This idea would have been counterintuitive in the early 19th century when the pages appeared at the beginning, not the end of the books. Why then did Joseph Smith claim the Book of Mormon practiced Subscriptio? That is, writing the name of the author and the title at the end of the book. If the existence of the practice of Subscriptio among the Greeks represented a detailed and exclusive correspondence which proves that the Greek literary practice is ultimately dependent upon Mesopotamia through Syria, as Burkert claims, for the Greek origins, cannot the same be said for the Book of Mormon? That the practice of Subscriptio represents a detailed and exclusive correspondence which offers proof that the Book of Mormon is ultimately dependent on the ancient Near East. Now that is a fascinating little study. There have been discovered as well, besides these ancient Biblos syllabic texts that are properly based on the Egyptian hieroglyphic and hence a reformed Egyptian, there has also been found 2 silver metal plates written in Jerusalem 600 BC. Brother Adams, in the Journal of the Book of Mormon Studies, I don't have it right at the moment, but I have it, but I won't refer to it. He notes that this writing was a sacred writing on metal and that it contained some of the scriptures in the book of Numbers. Now, this is exactly why Lehi sent Nephi back to Jerusalem after they wandered out into the desert for 3 days in the wilderness, because they had to get the records of the Jews of the first 5 books of Moses. These books were being written on metal in 600 BC. They have found archaeologically 2 such silver strips of metal with writing on them from the book of Numbers, which would be included in the 5 books of Moses, of course. So this practice, not only of Subscriptio, putting the title, the author's name, and the title page of the book in the back of the book instead of the front, like we moderns do, as well as the very practice of writing on metal plates, this archaeological and historical evidence of sacred writings on metal plates shows that the argument the Book of Mormon has nothing in favor, archaeologically or historically, for it. That argument is simply false.